Delay is an effect that will actually record the incoming signal, the input, recorded into a buffer and played back after a certain amount of time. Thus the delay, because it introduces time delay. So to experience that, I can play this, or I can introduce delay. See, it was late by the note, so to display that, I'm going to play some of the dry and some of the wet signal. As I already explained, the delay is an actual effect that adds something to the original to give us a kind of an effect. So with no feedback, this delay is actually going to repeat that sound only once after this much delay. So this is all in 16th notes, musical time division. So 4 16th notes after the original. So let's hear that. You see, let's introduce more delay, only once. If we introduce some feedback, so what does the feedback do? Well, every time the input signal comes in, it passes through, if we have the dry here set so we can hear it, and then we take a piece of that signal, delay it as recorded, and play it back. Now, if we have the feedback, we're again going to take a piece of that signal and play it back, and always delay by this much time. So every time we play it back, we again sample a bit of that, and we introduce some attenuation to that signal. Meaning that every time it passes through, it's going to get a bit quieter and delayed. So again, we take it in, we delay it, we attenuate it, we play it back, and then from that played back delayed signal, again, we take a piece of that, delay it, attenuate it, and so in a loop. So the more feedback, the less attenuation we will introduce every time it is looped, meaning that it's going to stay longer in the loop. So let's hear that with a really long feedback, like this. I can even shorten the delay time so that all of this passes faster. And if I shorten the feedback like this, you see, just a couple of times. Now, of course, we have the dry signal and we have the wet. So the signal that appears after, we have the wet, which is actually the modified delayed signal going in a loop using this feedback as a parameter of how attenuated it's going to be every time it goes into the loop. So the signal goes in, passes through, of course, if we let some dry through, and then it goes into the loop, and according to the feedback parameter, it's going to loop there for longer or shorter time, depending on how much we attenuate. We put the volume down every time it passes through the loop. Of course, every time it passes through the loop, it enters this delay stage. Now, this delay is actually synced to our BPM, so it's a musical measurement, but we can, of course, make it not musical, so in milliseconds, like that. See, very fast. Nice. And we have separate delay times for the left and the right channel. Now we can connect those and say, use one time for both of those. Like that. Even sync it, use the same time for both of those. Even shuffle it. Nice. So we have that kind of a delay, a simple delay which has, if we wish so, separate delay times for the left and the right speaker. We have the dry-wet functionality where we can decide how much of the dry signal we hear and how much of the wet signal we hear. And we have the feedback, which gives us more dissipation or less. Now we have different types of delays, and we will go over that in the next lesson.